If he's not the best small forward in the competition, he's very close to it.
Eddie's not only loved by the whole Adelaide community. I mean, it's the whole football community that loves Eddie. That's just the nature of who he is. I don't think anyone's had a more positive influence on myself, the boys at the footy club, and the entire football club than Eddie Betts.
An amazing guy, got a magnificent family, a loving, caring man who loves his kids and just treats everyone the same.
When I think of Eddie, I think of joy, happiness, a family man, and just an electrifying player.
Still in. Eddie fooled them all. Escaped. Eddie Betts. No.
Eddie, the unbelievable. It does not get any better than that.
Someone that just brings energy and just draws people in.
Takes the kick to the top of the square.
Kept it alive.
The ace in the pack was none other than Eddie Betts.
His smile's probably the best smile we've got at the footy club too.
For him to be able to reach 300 games, I'm looking forward to being a part of it, and I'll just get out of his way and he can put on the show.
He blows him away. Oh, Eddie.
What a great taster of all that he's given us.
Let's go. Did you hear those laugh?
He's let us into the lounge room. Eddie Betts, welcome to AFL 360 and congratulations on game 300.
Thanks, Robbo. Thanks, Jared. Thanks for having me.
What does it mean to you?
I haven't really thought about that yet. You know, I've received a lot of text messages this week, and it's kind of reflecting on where the journey started to now, and I just can't believe that I've lasted this long in the system, to be honest.
And probably more importantly, what does it mean to your family? Your mum and dad, your cousins, your uncles and aunties, your wife, your kids?
Yeah, it means a lot. Just knowing that, you know, where I've come from and the journey that I've had. You know, my mum and dad split up when I was young. My dad lived in Port Lincoln. My mum lived in Western Australia, and I shifted across there to live with my mother and all my family there. And then I moved back across with my dad. And then when I was 14, just out of the blue, moved to Victoria with my mum and my auntie. And it was tough, really tough times. And, you know, we wanted to try something new and, you know, get out of that little bubble that we lived in, and you know, here I am now.
So where will you have family come from on the weekend, Eddie, to be part of it?
Yeah, I've got a lot of family coming. My dad's flying from Port Lincoln on Sunday. My mother and my auntie are coming from Kalgoorlie on Friday. I've got my cousin coming from Perth, my other brothers from Kalgoorlie. I got family from Noosa, a friend from Darwin, so they're coming from all over the place.
Hey, Ed, we can sit here and just talk to you and ask you how great you are, and you're not going to join in this conversation. I think the more important conversation, and you spoke about that journey, we have spoken before, so, you know, it's stuff I know, and I'd love you to talk about it again. Life could have taken a different turn when you were in Port Lincoln, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could have. You know, doing all the wrong things as a young kid, not going to school, skipping, drinking, smoking as a young kid, and stealing as well. So that's when my mum come across and saw the stuff that I was doing, and my auntie, and we decided to pack everything up and move across to Victoria out of the blue.
And you got an opportunity, right? So you got to AFL footy and even AFL football when you were at Carlton, and everyone loved you at Carlton. But even that, we got a challenge for you, and at one stage you jumped in your car and you drove off, and Carlton great man Shane O'Sullivan went up the highway and grabbed you and, I suppose, rescued you back to football.
Yeah, there were some pretty dark times. You know, there was a lot of things outside of footy that was happening. I did have a massive gambling problem as well, and most of my money on weekends will be you know, going to that, and I'll be left without any money. Sometimes no food, and yeah, it was tough, and there was a lot of stressful things that were happening around that. And I started driving towards Sydney, and I started crying and thinking, what am I doing? I rang Shane O'Sullivan. He said, come into the footy club and let's have a chat. So I drove back to the footy club. went into Shano's office and he sat me down and gave me a cuddle and said, don't worry about everything. Just try to surround yourself with some positive people and the boys and try to keep your mind off a lot of things that's happening outside of footy. And that's what I did. I came into training, trained hard. I spent my time around the boys and just took my mind off things and just played footy. And Shano was a great man. He kind of took me under his wing when I first got to the Carlton Football Club. He's like my second dad, Shano, and I'm very proud that he's coming across this weekend to watch the game.
So when you got your life together and you got your goals in front of you and Carlton and you're putting yourself on the same path, did football open up for you, Eddie? Because we look at you as a player, and for everyone who's played the game, they go, wowee, and people say, look at this man play. But you must have a freedom in the mind to be able to do what you did. When did that come to you, you think?
I think, Robbo, when football opened up to me, it was, I guess everyone would have known the boat cruise, the famous Carlton boat cruise. And I went out that night and I got arrested in Melbourne CBD, and I spent the night in the cells. It was very, very scary, just sitting there with someone else laying on the hard concrete bed next to you, just shaking, and you think to yourself, what am I doing? Is this going to be the end of my career? And I sat down and spoke to my wife Anna, and decided to snap out of it, and I had to change my ways professionally, had to become a professional athlete, because I like to go out and enjoy myself a lot. And after that, I kind of sat down with my wife, and she supported me through it, and we set down some boundaries, and I had to learn how to be a professional athlete. I had to go out and train hard and concentrate on my footy, and that's what I did, and ended up putting myself on the right path.
So for the challenges that you've faced, Eddie, and those that you've overcome, the actual act of playing football, and this is where you've provided a disproportionate amount of joy to all of us watching, how do you find the actual act of playing the game?
It's kind of funny, because when I go out and play, and when I'm playing my best footy, I don't think at all. I'm just having fun. I'm enjoying. I'm smiling, and you're not thinking. You're just actually playing. You're not worrying about structures. You're not worrying about the game plan. You're just going out there, having fun, and smiling.
So when you're in the moments, we're watching some of these highlights now. Is it instinct? Does it make sense to you? How do you rationalise it? When you look back at it and go, oh, that panned out all right. How do you rationalise those moments?
Yeah, it's funny, because sometimes I look at it and like you said, it's on instinct, and some of the goals that I've kicked, I've kind of watched it back and I think, how did I do that? And in that moment, when I'm on the footy field, you're just not thinking. It's just on instinct, and you're in the moment, and you just got to try and make something happen. And sometimes they go through, sometimes they don't, but when they do, it's always a big smile.
You'll be the 86th player to reach the 300-game milestone. The subset of Indigenous players is limited to Goods, Sean Burgoyne, Andrew McLeod, O'Loughlin and Wanganeen. How do you feel about taking a place in the company of those 5 all-timers?
I was actually talking about that today, Jared, and I felt embarrassed, to be honest, because just looking at those names, those the greats of the game, and they've accomplished and achieved so much in our game, and they're wonderful players. I got a text message today from Adam Goods just to congratulate on the 300, and Gavin Wanganeen as well, which was good to get a text message from.
Now, Eddie, I've got my favourite moment of your career. I would love, just be big-headed for a second, can you? And tell me, what was the very moment that you loved the most? We just showed a highlight of you at Carlton, kicking a goal in the pocket where you danced around and danced backwards and kicked the goal, and you smiled and everyone was smiling. That's my favourite moment of you. Give us your...
Essendon,
it was against Essendon.
Yeah.
Give us your...
Yeah, I remember that.
Give us your favourite goal, Ed.
My favourite goal, I would have to say the one against GWS here at Adelaide Oval.
From the pocket.
It was in the Indigenous round, and my auntie, my dad's sister, designed a jersey as well for that week, and to play well in that game and to kick goal of the year at Adelaide Oval.
Here it is now, Ed. We've
in
got
the
it up
pocket
now.
With her jersey on was unbelievable, and I'll have to say that's the favourite.
Beautiful. One on the
I always got
collective.
always got stuck into Heath, Scotland too, because I always said my favourite goal was the Carlton one against Collingwood, where Heath, Scotland got knocked out by Alan Didak in the middle, and I've always said it was that one because I just wanted to remind him a little bit of what happened on that day.
Beautiful. We've got this as well.
We've got it as well, from the pocket.
Do ya?
We had your greatest hits lined up. So just one on the collective, Eddie. It feels pretty intense around the Crows. Are you sensing that at the moment after a less than expected start to the season?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we're not playing our best footy. We know we can play better, and we have to own that as a team, as players and as coaches as well. So we're looking forward to bouncing back this week and, you know, hopefully everyone can be excited, have a great week. You know, we got main training tomorrow, have a great session, and when Sunday comes, hopefully we can go out and get the win.
Go well. I hope it's a great celebration and worthy of all that you've done for the game, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well done, Ed.
Eddie Betts.
Eddie Betts.
On AFL 360.
That's who he is, Eddie Betts.
There's a few different ways to break his career down, so joining that group of Indigenous players is phenomenal company. The other way is there's only 3 players who have kicked 250 goals at 2 clubs. They're Lockett, Franklin and Betts.
And Betts.
Yeah.
He's sold short, Eddie. He's been a magnificent player. You used the word joy, and I did separately. And so did Rory Sloane. There's a lot of negativity in football, Jared, but there's nothing negative about Eddie Betts.
All right.